Well, we are here tonight. First, I know many of you are expecting a guest speaker from the Environmental Protection Agency, and I am sorry to say that they were not able to arrange a guest speaker on for this month. We do have some folk that will hopefully be able to present in the future. But apologies, you're stuck with us for this presentation tonight rather than an actual EPA speaker. But many of us here, I know, have varied experience of our own with the EPA, and so Rev wanted us to present a quick overview. And since some of y'all are more expert at this than I am, please feel free to interject and add, enhance, correct. But we're going to be talking to you first, a quick overview of just the many resources under EPA that deal with the concepts of resilience and restoration, because of course that's the subject of our monthly Zooms. I'll be going through just a quick set of slides that will feature various pages. And again, I'm no expert on all of these programs. You'd have to be a real expert to be able to talk intelligently about all of them. But the links to each of these pages will be in the notes of the slides, and we will be sharing our slides with you. So at the end, if you see a page that looks of interest and you want to learn more about it, just go to that slide, check the notes, make sure you can view the notes, and the hyperlink to the web page will be in the notes. And then, so I'm Kyle Crider. I'm Program and Policy Director for People's Justice Council, Alabama Interfaith Power and Light. Our policy manager is Aaliyah Smith. And after I do a quick pass through, a quick high-level survey of resilience and restoration resources at the EPA, Aaliyah will be telling you how you can apply for grants and cooperative agreements through the EPA, and give you an overview of that process. And again, I know some of y'all are experts at this, but we're all lay people in one sense of the word, and feel free to help one another out. If you've got additional information, like I say, don't be shy. So with that, let me turn it over to Aaliyah to introduce us to, again, welcome everyone. And I'm going to turn it over to Aaliyah to start her presentation.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad you guys are here for the presentation. I'm about to share my screen real quick. Okay, can everyone see this? Yes, okay. Okay, all this stuff is in the way. Okay. So Kyle's going to start off with just telling you guys about some resources related to resilience to restoration that the EPA offers.
Yeah, and I sure learned a lot on this homework process. Like Jerry said, we didn't realize the EPA was so deep. But thankfully, there's a variety of tools to help navigate all those mounds of information. And one of them right here is an environmental resilience tool wizard. And similar to the grant search and feature filter that Aaliyah will be showing you, this works very similarly. When you click that button to access the resilience tool wizard, it's really more a filtering tool. You can filter by category, by agency, by type of plan, or type of resource. So this is a good place to start. And Aaliyah's managing the slides for me. So next, please. And then, as you might imagine, there's a lot of resilience tools specifically related to climate change. So, for example, the previous wizard might direct you to this page, and you can see some of the various resources that are here to help meet the challenges of a changing climate. Next. So again, going through these fast, just if anything catches your interest, the hyperlink will be in the note for you to follow up later. The EPA, of course, itself was charged with coming up with a climate adaptation plan. And on this page, you can see not only the master plan, but the plan for each EPA region. And Aaliyah will go into a little more about EPA regions, but I know many of you are already familiar with them. So even though these are EPA plans, obviously it's the EPA working with all of us to hopefully bring these adaptation plans about. Next. Again, another page of tools for climate change, specifically for climate change adaptation. You can see that there's tools for air, water, waste management, public health, and the aforementioned adaptation planning. Next. Tools specific to climate change and water, estuaries, resilient water utilities tools. Next. There is a lot on drinking water and wastewater resilience. And a lot of this came about because of the recent Water Infrastructure Act. So as in so many areas that you're going to be hearing Aaliyah and Jerry talk about, there's a lot of new funding available for some very important and honestly work that's been like so much of our infrastructure that has lagged for far too long. It should be criminal that in this day and age with a big rain we still have, and sometimes not even with a big rain, we have raw sewage and way too many of our waterways. But there's some new resources, including dollar signs, to fix that. Next. And under the Clean Water Act, these advanced restoration plans are part of our. There's thanks to raw sewage and a number of things like that, we have a number of impaired waterways, and the EPA is working with many of us to restore these impacted waterways, and you can get into the advanced restoration plans here for that. Next. And here's a tool that is specifically to communities with whose water systems serve more than 3,300 people. This is a sample, a part of a PDF. I just took a screen capture of the PDF. This is like a lot of our tools. They've done a one-page back and front for risk and resilience assessments and emergency response plans. These just happen to be specific to community drinking water, that I know is near and dear to some of the folks on this call. Next. And talking about impacted waterways, if you want to learn more about the waterways in your backyard, the EPA's How's My Waterway tool gets into, mapping, so you can see on a map, you can review the data, see how impacted your waterway is and what are the impacts. And it's nice that it's broken up by community, state, tribal, as well as national. Next. And I do like that the EPA itself is moving from resilience to restoration, or in this case, what they're calling recovery. So this page deals with smart growth strategies. These came about from an EPA FEMA memorandum of agreement. So a lot of it, of course, is specific to natural, or as we say, natural and technological disasters, because nowadays most of our disasters aren't just natural. There's a huge human or technologic component to them. So whether it's a natural or a NATEC disaster, this is relevant to our work. Next. Screenshot of a PDF for this regional resilience toolkit. This, as you can see, it was actually developed with the Association of Bay Area Governments. So while this tool was developed on the West Coast, it is not specific to the West Coast, and you'll see how it's being applied elsewhere across the U.S. But good stuff here too. Next. And some really good leading by example of these 20 climate adaptation implementation plans for you to review here. Next. And we're almost done with this section. Since our Resilience to Restoration grant from the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine is specific to Gulf states, I wanted to review the EPA's resources specific to the Gulf of Mexico. And as you might imagine, there's some really good stuff starting right here with this page. Next. Why is coastal community resilience important in the Gulf of Mexico? Next. Now, you'll notice at the top it says Science Inventory. The next 3 slides are 3 examples that I have found. This is getting kind of into the weeds for some of us, but it's really good stuff if you want to dive into the science, the peer-reviewed literature, because it's important that we all be evidence-based, and peer-reviewed literature is a good place for evidence-based actions, good evidence on which to base policy. So these next 3 examples are just 3 more technical papers, but good stuff for our resilience and restoration work. Next. This is number 2 in that. And then we get into basic, as you might imagine, there's a lot of restoration that's around wetlands on the EPA, because they are so important, as I'm sure many of you know. So this page starts with the basics about wetland restoration and protection. Next. And then I had heard of this, but honestly didn't know a lot about it. And I'd love later in our QA or general talk session or reports from partners and so forth. I know I've heard some of you mention this, but this is a good spot for us all to do some homework if you're not familiar with it already. This Restore the Gulf is a project of the EPA, but it's got its own website. It's that big, and it's as you can see, there's a story map that's a great introduction and overview. And this old GIS geek is a big fan of story maps. So when you have time, take a look at Restore the Gulf and start with their story map, because this is exciting work. It's been around since 2012. So I should know more about it by now, but I'm ashamed to say I've got a lot to learn, and looking forward for y'all's experience and comments in this regard. And I think that's my last slide. I think it's back to you, Aaliyah.
Okay. EPA funding and resources. So I have a couple of objectives for us today. To find different EPA grants that will best benefit your organization / nonprofit. Apply, learning step by step on how to apply and navigate through the EPA grants. Receive, understand what are your next steps. Okay. So Kyle did say that a lot of people are already familiar with the EPA. I would just like to open it up to ask what is it that you all know already about the EPA? To whoever wants to speak. Raise hand.
I'm happy to add, I have applied for or administered for EPA grants. One of them was a replicable and scalable model of resilience building in low-income communities with faith groups engaged. And one was indoor air quality, one was outdoor or ambient air quality, and one that's coming up now that has received the funding for enhanced outdoor air quality monitoring in communities just surrounded with, all kinds of highways and messy roads of all single kinds that are concerned about their health.
Okay. Okay, well, just to give some more background on that, the EPA was created in 1972 by President Nixon, Richard Nixon. The EPA is the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, which focuses on helping many organizations achieve environmental goals. Every year, the EPA awards over $4 billion for grants and other assistance agreements. Some authority grants awarded by the EPA is the Clear Air Act, the Clear Water Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, Toxic Substance Control Act. And I believe this is some of the stuff you went over at the beginning, Kyle, right? And then down below is this link that you could get more information as well. But we'll be putting the PowerPoint in the chat box for everyone to have. So this is a map of just how the EPA breaks down their regions. We're Alabama, so we're in region 4. And you could just see the different breakdowns of every region from this map. So grants and versus cooperatives. Once selected for an award, applicants will receive a grant agreement or a cooperative agreement, depending on the EPA's involvement in the project. So grants, the EPA is not substantially involved with carrying out the project, but with the cooperatives, it's like the EPA partner with the recipients and, help them out with the grants and achievement that they get. Oh, hold on, let me go back. So the next 2 slides is just a breakdown that I did of like how to navigate through the grant website. I could go over it with you guys right now, but just for a future reference, when you guys get the PowerPoints, there's step-by-steps on how to navigate through the websites from the next 2 slides. Okay, everybody can see this? Yes, okay. So what I want to focus you guys on is the search grant and the applicants. First, we'll press the search grants. And on the left-hand side, these are different filters in order for you to navigate to get to the EPA grants. So opportunity status, right here, we'll just unclick forecast and just use posted because they're just the more recent grants than that we are looking for. Then there's cooperative agreements, grants, and this is under funding instruments. We'll just keep that as is as of right now. And eligibility, these are what your organization like identified as. So right here, there's nonprofits. Then there's categories. And when you scroll down, you can see energy and environment, which is like basically most of our niche in here. So these are good things for you guys to know as well. But at the bottom, you'll see agencies. And when you scroll down here, you'll see all environmental protection agencies. And then you want to click that. So this is where you'll find results. And this is the EPA grants or cooperative agreements that are available as of right now. These are not the only ones for the year. They're kind of they cycle out. So there's more that'll be added throughout the year, basically. But one in particular that we're going to talk about today is the Environmental Justice Collaborative Problem Solving Cooperative Agreement Program. It's a lot. It's a handful to say, but this is what we're going to talk about. On their website, there's just more of a breakdown, the estimate total program funding amount, due dates, and everything you will need to, have a successful application, and you can apply and subscribe. So I'll go back to my slides now. Okay. So the Environmental Justice Collaborative Problem Solving Cooperative Agreement Program, the total funding is approximately $30 million, which is available for 80 projects nationwide. Funding breakdown, number of awards, funding tracks, $25 million available for CBOs, CBO partners, proposing projects for up to $500,000. $5 million is available for small CBOs, and this is organizations with five or less full-time employees. Length of project, other award details, project period is around 3 years. Start date, October 1st, 2023. All funds must be drawn down by the end of the 3rd-year project period. There's no exceptions, no extensions that are allowed. Cooperative agreements, substantial EPA involvement and oversight. Applications are due April 14th, 2023, and notifications on if you got the award or not will be in September of 2023. So in a couple of months. Okay, so before you apply for that program in particular, or any program actually, you have to register your organization with grant.gov. That's the website that we were just on previously. Sign up and register your organization on sam.gov. This will provide you with a unique identity ID. This ID was replaced by the DONS number for all federal grants. Apply early, as it can take up to 6 weeks to be approved. If you have previously registered, check to verify your registration. Okay, so just to say a few of these types of eligible project activities: research and public education, small scale construction and demolition work, small scale cleanup installations of air and water filtration systems. And this is just a few of these that I'll say right now. Okay, so the use of the EJ Collaborative Program Solving Model must be detailed in your applications. Collaborative problem solving is defined as an effort to bring together groups and resources for 3 or more stakeholders to solve a set of problems that any single entity cannot solve individually. So this is a list of, oh, I'm messing it up. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Okay, we're back. So this is a list of collaborative problem-solving model elements. Applicants do not have to address all elements in their work plan, but they do advise you to talk about at least several of them. So what is this proposal looking for? Projects addressing environmental, public health issues. Projects should develop solutions that will significantly address environmental and public health issues in communities with environmental harms and risks. Proposal must include relevant information such as demographics, geographic location, and community history. EPA strongly encourages that use of the EPA's EJ screen tools to help you categorize and describe your target community. Down below, there is a link to more information as well. I would put in the chat, but I need the link. But we could go back to that once everyone has questions at the end, if you would like to.
Yeah, and I did want to say, speaking of the chat, Jan put in the chat, this EJ collaborative problem-solving model is the essence of ecumenical restoration. Thank you for that comment, Jan, and amen.
Thank you. So after you're done applying and after you're done successfully applying, right? So you could go back to the grants.gov website, and this is where you could get the applicants, and then there's a drop down where you could track your application, or you could find out how to apply for the grants. And then there's their applicant resources that will help you further. So congratulations, you have been accepted for the award. Woohoo. Once the EPA selects a grant application for award, it prepares an award agreement that is signed by the EPA award official. The award agreement is then sent to the applicant, usually by email. The EPA expects the recipient to review the award agreement, including the scope of the work for the grant and the terms and conditions, to confirm that the applicant concurs with the information. So you'll have up to 21 days to draw down on the funds, or draw down on the fund, or raise no objection to the award agreement, and you have 21 days until then. So if there's an issue with the agreement and you want to have any objections to it, you still have 21 days to contact anyone from the EPA to talk about that as well. Okay, so the time is now. Funds are appropriated this year, but we cannot be sure about continuing funds previous years. We are here to help you, the whole panel, all of PJC, we're here to help you. If you need the help, you would contact me or anybody else from PJC, and also sign up for our email list to get more information. And like we said, this link, the links and all the emails will be sent to you guys and put in the chat. So now we can open up for questions. I don't know. Now we can open it up for questions. Oh. Questions, anyone? My slide's not working. Okay, questions.
And if you didn't see it, Marasia has already posted the link to the slideshow. We'll post it again before the session ends, but let us know if y'all have any trouble accessing that.
So I have a question for Aaliyah, because the kind of work that she's doing. Are you going to be offering technical support to people that are for the first time signing up on sam.gov and grants.gov if they're having issues with that?
I personally, I can help. I'll have to go over it more for myself so I could be more in tune with it. But I have no problem with helping and getting people familiar with both sam.gov and the grant.gov.
Thank you for that.
No
Yeah,
problem.
Jerry is tutoring all of us in the intricacies of, of that. But yes, we do want to help. And this is also a good point to say, we are partnering with a number of other organizations going after that Environmental Justice Training Center grant. But what the good news is, whether or not we get it, there is almost certainly going to be an Environmental Justice Training Center for that will be providing expert assistance to groups. And some of y'all may know more about that than I do, but we're excited about the possibility, the prospect.
In the next like 3 months, I mean, if we, as we have people that we're putting through applications in and so forth and so on, I'm just trying to find out if we need to support them from our individual states or if there is going to be a concerted effort for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think 3 months, it's on us.
Okay.
I'd like to hear Jerry speak on, if she's would be willing to speak on the grant.gov and the other .gov. I can't remember what it was now.
Sure. So grants.gov is a way that you will, as Aaliyah demonstrated, that you can search for grants by keywords and by departments. So you could be looking in Department of Energy or Department of Interior or EPA. Just, you know, you can search any of those and see the grants. It's pretty intuitive. And if you follow the directions on the slide, the 2 slides that Aaliyah made, you will get to the answers that you're looking for. You just have to be careful not to click on too many keywords, because then you'll just get inundated with things. But grants are released now from the EPA. They're releasing them fairly quickly. Another large grant was released today. And generally we find out about those. And if they look like there's something really appropriate for any of our partners or the Gulf South, we would forward that information pretty quickly. SAM.gov is each organization has to have a unique identifying number. Historically, it has been your DUNS number. They are eliminating DUNS as of, I think, the 1st of April or sometime in the beginning of April. And so you now get this unique identifying number by applying on SAM.gov. There is on that website, there are questions and answers. There are sort of tutorials as to how to fill out the application. So if you think you might want to apply anytime in the future, I would suggest going through the process of getting registered on SAM.gov, because it takes a long time. It can take up to 6 weeks, according to the EPA. And I imagine with the influx of money, it's probably it could take even longer. So I would suggest that if you have any sites of applying for any additional, any federal funding from any organization, that you fill that out. Aaliyah, I see a question from Laura. She has her hands up.
Yes, okay, I'll unmute her. Hi.
Yeah, I'm good, Aaliyah. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for this incredible presentation. That's super helpful. So just wanted to get some clarity around the grants in terms of the dates. If you can kind of, and maybe you talked about this a little bit earlier and I came in late, but just around the difference between the posted date, original closing date, and current closing date. Because if someone is submitting an application and it's going to take 6 weeks, if I'm understanding correctly, for that application to be approved, wouldn't they miss the date of some of these grants?
It's entirely possible.
Okay.
This is just a new rule. It's probably through all of the departments, not just the EPA. It's for any federal funding that you have to actually use that unique ID number. You could still prepare your grant. You could still, hopefully track it and see if it comes in time. This grant that we talked about today that Aaliyah mentioned is an example of one grant that is being offered for community-based organizations.
Okay.
There will be more. They're rolling out just slowly because they've got a lot of money and they have to, do the request for application and get everything all legally set up. So if you keep an eye on grants.gov, and you can actually request to receive an email if there's a trigger of something in particular that you've been looking for. So you can get emails from them too. But if you keep your eye on that, like a new grant was posted today, and next week there could be another one. The EPA needs to get this money out to communities and organizations.
Great. Thank you so much.
Jan, you said something about there's a problem with grants.gov. Can you say more about that?
It's the application process itself. Even if you give a group a timeline that tells them to test beforehand to make sure that you can do it, very often, and especially if we're working with local governments who have to be the primary applicant on it, sometimes they say, oh, we have all that, we can do that, we can do it. But they have not renewed their SAM.gov, and it's out of date. And at the last minute, they're unable to clear it up. They're not able to get the application in. So we really have to stay on top of people. They think it's the last thing that they have to worry. They're all worried about everything else in the application. But if we don't stay on top of people about it, they may not have an up-to-date account. And they do a really good job of giving you technical support by phone. So if you tried it a day or two in advance and it didn't go through, you can get that support. But if you were to the last minute getting everything together, that's when it all falls apart if it doesn't go through.
Thank you.
I should also mention that there are specific forms that put together will be the application. And they are federal forms that are not unique to the EPA, not unique to any particular grant. They could be from Health and Human Services has to fill out the exact same forms as APA applicants. So the forms you really need to kind of familiarize yourself with the forms. I don't know if we have a link to it. If not, I'll get a link to those forms. Because they're standard. You don't have any choice. There's some parameters sometimes with a different number of pages that you're allowed to submit, but you have to use the same forms. So if you're applying for a $150,000 grant, you're applying on the same forms that somebody could be applying for a $20 million or $30 million grant. They haven't figured out a way to make it real for small communities.
No, and that's plus your 12 to 18 page work plan narrative.
Yes.
So in essence, it's doable. It's just going to take time.
Yes, but each organization also needs to have fiscal and administrative capacity. And that's a little more difficult. Plus there's, on the evaluation, they look for, well, has this organization handled previous EPA grants or federal grants? It's a hard system it's hard to break in.
Yeah. Now, through the Justice 40 cohort, we were able to break in. And so we have been able to have some access. And what we've tried to do as the People's Justice Council is also provide that access to you all as community. I do want to make mention that some of these grants are meant for collaboration. And the good part about it is our communities of faith have an opportunity to really collaborate with some of our community-based organizations to build capacity and help to serve the community. And I want to make sure that I'm bringing that up so we can take advantage of that. But also in that, You also have an opportunity to explore working with your local governments or even your national governments, and if it be in order, or state governments, if that be in order. But there's opportunities for collaboration where you don't have to necessarily have all of the components. You can partner with others who can bring those components in, and that way you're able to build capacity around getting the things done for your communities that need to be done. Thank you all so very much for this presentation. Listen, Kyle told y'all, and I was gonna get on him later on about this, but Kyle told y'all that the EPA representative that we had lined up at the last minute canceled on us. They were gonna tell you all through the announcement, but I was like, no, they came to get what the EPA is doing. We can look it up and figure this thing out so we can present on it. Our team had approximately 10 hours total to put this together for you all, and they banged this thing on out and really did a phenomenal job. And so hats off and kudos to the team.
Awesome.
For making this happen. I do want to give y'all some practical, because we did give you all a bunch of ways to make this happen, but I do want to give you some practical on how we're implementing things with resilience to restoration. And so I had an opportunity to spend some time in Florida with Jan Boer and communities in Florida, several different communities. And I'm gonna let Jan speak on it, but please know that me and my mama had a great time hanging out with Jan and the crew. Jan, I'll let you take it from here.
Well, we put together a tour, and you met an awful lot of our network that we have here of EJ communities. And you did a great job of helping people to understand the bigger picture. And everybody that we met with, after going through the 3 different pillars and talking about those things that were their needs, either in the ecological or the socioeconomic or the ecumenical, then spoke about their vision. And many of the people we had asked to get the people in the room that can help to work together on it. And those groups were particularly wonderful. And so the technical support in Florida that we're giving to people is everybody who expressed a vision and spoke about the people they wanted to partner with has received their benchmark timeline with all of the forms that they have to prepare and when they should be doing them in their sequence of events. And then the summary page, that's your first page of your submission, has been filled out for them with the information they gave us. So we can enter into a dialogue with them about, this is what we heard from you. Is this what you're saying? And where do you need partners? And how can we help you find partners if there's something that you're missing? So that's where we are with folks. We're gonna help them write their work plans and all. And if there is something through the broader coalition that we can send folks here or there for particular questions they have, I need to start a list. So you all will have your phones ringing and your emails buzzing, and people can kind of catch up with you. But it was really wonderful because it just so happened that your tour corresponded with the collaborative problem solving model, which I've used extensively for the past decade, and I really love it. And then also because there's this government to government opportunity for many of the people who had been doing those community projects together to reach out to government and to be able to make healthier relationships there, which is a really exciting prospect if we can get the partnering to work. And so we may need some pastoral skills in there. We don't know, but we're working on it. But it was a wonderful tour, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Jan. By way of practical implementation, there's already some cement being laid down for a resiliency hub at one congregation that I visited while I was there. There's a possible solar project that we have in line there as well. And then in addition to, there was a community garden that we may not even need grants for, so much as it is just the community coming together and building it out, that we may have initiated while we were there. So we've got some projects that are happening there with communities that we met with, and prayerfully we'll continue on and we can celebrate those successes in our resiliency and restoration projects that we have going on throughout the Gulf South. Not only did we do this tour stop in Florida, but we want to do it throughout all 5 of the Gulf states. And we did workshops. And again, those workshops came out. They were phenomenal. The people that came out not only came out and showed up for us, but they showed out as well, and that they brought their brains and not just their bodies with them. And we were able to think through some real solutions for their communities and look at how we scale up some of the solutions that already exist as well. So we're looking forward to continuing to work with them. I am in touch with Region 4, and I'm trying to make them feel guilty about counseling on us, so they'll owe us one. So hopefully we'll have some even better ends with Region 4 by the time it's all over with. So you all just bear with us. Listen, I want to leave this last little bit of time. We do have some of our partners on the call. I do know Mississippi Rising is on the call. I'm not sure if we've got Texas Impact or if we've got any of our other partners with Gulf Coast Creation Care, excuse me. But if you are on the call and you have an announcement, please feel free. Bramaris, do you have anything that you wanted to make an announcement with Mississippi Rising with?
Yes, thank you for this space. I'd like to thank you for the information. I really appreciate everything. It's pretty awesome. Thank you, Jan. I heard about what you all did there, and we're going to try our best to try to, if it's not broke, why try to fix it? So we're going to try to pattern that same model here in Mississippi. So we're getting with all 6 of the people that are involved and the organizations that are involved, and we're going to set up a time to meet with them. We're getting the structure and everything together, what we're going to say, the toolkits and all that stuff together. You laid a really nice model, so we're going to try to follow it to a certain degree. And yes, we are excited. There's a lot going on here in Mississippi, politically, socially, and we're excited to move forward with that. So thank you for everything. Thank you for all of the information. Lisa, do you have anything?
No, I'm just excited to start looking at these opportunities and get started.
Thank you.
I don't know if y'all know Lisa Foster. She's also Mississippi Rising. She's the one that writes like the grants and all that stuff. So, this is really good information. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Henry Mendoza.
Hi, Henry. He's from Father Jose's church.
Hi, yes. From the Episcopal Church.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So everything was great.
Thank you for joining us. Okay. Listen, I don't believe in holding folks. I'm sorry, Reverend Laura, did you want to have anything else that you wanted to say?
Are you calling me out, Rev?
No, I was just making sure I shared space. I didn't want to not, I called everybody else. I want to make sure I called on you.
No, there's just so much gratitude for this. And I look forward to hearing from more of our United Methodist partners. about how they're involved. So thank you for doing this. And this is really good. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, beloveds. You all have a great one. I look forward to seeing you on the next one when we talk about biomass in the Gulf South and what we can do to be involved in helping out with keeping them from killing our trees. All right. As always, love, peace, and light, y'all. Peace.